זה כבוד. With your permission. פרשת תולדות. As the Zohar says, that Chas v'Shalom to think, the Torah tells you a story. What happened? Just a message and a guide. What to do in our life. Of course, the highlight of this parsha is Yitzchak gives a bracha to Yaakov. Actually, at the end, the Zohar says the bracha was never fulfilled. Whatever he told him is nothing. It's going to be fulfilled, says the Zohar, Mashiach will come. So, just by that statement, you see that it's not really relevant. If you would have said the bracha was accomplished, okay, so I read it. But it wasn't accomplished. What's the purpose? So why did the Torah write the whole story? Obviously, the Zohar says it's not what happened. It's just a guide and a direction what a person has to know in order for him to get the bracha. So the Torah starts, the descendants of Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov, and Esav are coming. The Torah says that Rivka had some turbulence in her stomach between Yaakov and Esav. She went to Shem, the Rosh Hashiva, and he said to her, listen, you're going to have two babies. One is going to be bigger, one is going to be smaller. But she gave birth, Baruch Hashem, and until age 13, nobody knew the difference between them. Even though Esav was not the best student, but he pretended. The Torah says a description about Esav. Ish yodeh outside ish sadeh. He knows how to hunt, and he's a man of a field. He's not a man of a field. You don't say a man of a field. You said he likes to hunt, okay, so of course. It means it's on the road. That is a field. Don't hunt on the fields. You go to hunt in the forest, you go out someplace else. But the description of this guy is field, man of a field. Whatever it is. And Yaakov, the Torah describes, is a person who sits down and learns all the time. Learns all the time. So then the Gemara says, that's what happened until age 13. And age 13, that's what Esav chose. Then Avraham Avinu died at age 15. And Yaakov cooked lentils, and Esav came inside. And Esav asked him to give him some soup, and Yaakov said, okay, I would like to be the firstborn. So what is really behind it? The Gemara says, Yaakov said, I would like to be in Beit HaMikdash. That's a very nice statement, but what's really behind it? Yaakov is so strict about it, he won't give him the soup unless it's going to be, Yaakov wants to be the firstborn. I don't know exactly what it means, but on the surface he wants to be in Beit HaMikdash. He wants to be the Kohen HaGadol. Okay, but maybe it's just on the surface. Of course, that's not what it means. Because you want to be Kohen Gadol, that's why you're going to be so firm and you want to buy the firstborn, whatever it means, how you bought it. But that's what it means. Yeah, that's what it means. Okay, this is age 15. The Torah jumps to age 63. Yaakov and Esau became 63. It was the night of Pesach. Yitzchak calls up Esau. Tells him, I want you to go hunt. Excuse me. And prepare something the way I like. Aseli matamim, the way I like. It's a little bit strange for Yitzchak to talk like this. Yitzchak himself says in the opening statement to Esau that I feel I'm dying. So I'm going to die. And before I die, I want to give you a blessing. But I want you to make me special food the way I like. Somebody thinks he's dying. He doesn't think about food anymore. And impossible that Yitzchak Avinu has this thing in mind. He wants to have something tasty. Don't say that. You don't talk like this. What do you mean you like it? What do you mean you like it? Yitzchak, told him Yitzchak Avinu. One of the boys went to yeshiva with me. He told me about 55 years ago, he ate by Rabbi Gershon. It was the chief that just passed away. On Shabbat, he ate by him, and the Rosh Yeshiva saw him, he's not eating. He asked him, why did you eat? He said, because the food is cold. So Rosh Yeshiva told him, listen, somebody goes to yeshiva, his mind is in Torah, it doesn't make a difference if it's cold or hot. I'm very surprised about it. So he's surprised about him. What about Yitzchak? Yitzchak wants to have a tasty food. The Torah says Rivka heard it, and she called Yaakov, and she repeats the same story. But she tells Yaakov, we go to the back, get 2 goats. It's Pesach. I'll cook something that's very tasty for your father, the way he loves it. And give you a bracha. Very strange thing. You give a bracha because you have a tasty food. As well says, well, you want to give a bracha, really you should bless Hashem first and then you give a bracha. Then the bracha has more power or very powerful. But to say that you need to eat and to have, not to eat, to have a tasty food, then you give me a bracha? If the food won't taste good, you won't give me a bracha. But it's to be a tasty thing. With the text. I mean, every time you want to get bracha from somebody, you have to give him something to eat, something very tasty. He requests. It's like requests of the thing. He said, I'm going to give you a bracha if you give me food, and the food has to be very tasty the way I love it. In the text. The Torah says that Yaakov told his mother that, my brother is very hairy, and if I'll come inside, there's a chance that my father will put his hand on me, and he will see right away that I'm not his Esau. No, I said, don't worry about it. You know what? Let me put something on your hand. Just put on his hand some skin of the goat after the slaughter of the goat and prepared it, and a little bit on his neck, and goes inside. Yitzchak says, who are you? And I said, well, how come you came so quickly? I said, well, I'm Esau. Whatever it means, whatever he meant, whatever it says. So the Torah says, Yitzchak tells him, okay, come closer to me. I want to put my hand on your hand. It's very suspicious because Yaakov, also the Gemara says, the way Torah puts it, it was very, very polite. And Yitzchak comes with a statement. I feel your hands. It's like Esau, but you sound like Yaakov. So Yitzchak is confused now. As the Torah tells us that Yitzchak was completely blind. And as well says Hashem did it on purpose, Yitzchak will not figure out, even though Yitzchak had Ruach HaKodesh, Yitzchak Avinu, Hashem made sure that this time Yitzchak won't know what's going on. The Torah says that Yitzchak told Yaakov, okay, so come closer to me, and give me a kiss. He gives him a kiss. The Torah says, so he came closer, Yitzchak smells his clothing. And then Yitzchak says, I smell my son as well. It means not just the clothing in the text. And that smell is the smell of a field. That's what the text reads. Smell of a field. ריח, בלי ריח השדה. You smell like a field. What does it mean? Says the Zohar, says the Gemara, it's a smell of a field that's full of trees, apple trees. Yitzchak said, I smell the clothing, I smell Yaakov, the body smell like a field, and that field is a field of apples. Hashem Baruch Hashem, that Hashem blessed that field. Hashem blessed a field. The field should smell like special smell that you smell apples. What does it mean? It's in the text. There's no other explanation for that. This is the pshat. This is not the Drush. Says the Gemara, says the Zohar, we know what it is. Tell you what it is. Well, the Zohar is very, very strict about the meals of Shabbat. The 3 meals we have to do on Shabbat. Friday night, Shabbat morning, Shabbat afternoon. So you should never miss it. And the reason for that, the Zohar says Friday night is Yitzchak Avinu's, you have to have in mind. So Yitzchak. Shabbat morning you have to have in mind Avraham Avinu. So Shlishit you have to have in mind Yaakov Avinu. But it's not an order. It should be Friday night Avraham. And then Yitzchak and Yaakov. No. Yitzchak is Friday night. And the Zohar says how important it is to come home and to be very happy and to sit down and to sing Zmirot and this. And the Zohar says each meal has a tremendous power. One meal is to save a person from time before Mashiach will come. One is to save a person from the war of Gog and Magog. And one he should have in Olam Haba. That's how crucial and important those meals on Shabbat. And of course, it will be very holy. You have to hold your head and know what you're doing. But not to disturb and not to talk nonsense. Zmirot, everything holy, holy, holy. So the Zohar says, the Friday night Seudah, what you have to remind Yitzchak Avinu, it says, what is this exactly? This you have to have the kavanah of the field of apples that smells. Good smell of apples. It says that's what exactly Yitzchak is now so-called talking to himself. And says this is the clothing of Yaakov. And Yaakov's body smelled the field. Again, that smell, where do you get it? Hashem made it. Hashem made this smell. Hashem made this smell. Means the field smells like this. So Zohar explain what it means. It says, that's the parasha. The Torah told us that when Rivka arrived back with Eliezer, that so Yitzchak comes towards them. The Torah says, Yitzchak, where you come from? It says, Yitzchak came from the field. It says, what do you do over there? I prayed over there. So why do you pray over there in that field? So Zohar says, that field is right next to Marat HaMachpelah in Hebron. And the reason why Yitzchak prays over there, because Yitzchak walked by one time and smelled a special smell that comes out of Marat HaMachpelah Abraham, what Abraham bought. He said, I'm going to daven over here, I'm going to pray over there. The Torah told us last week that Rivka met Yitzchak. So she saw him the first time, and he saw her, was on that field, on that place that smells so good. I said, what is really what it was all about? As well says, Avraham Avinu, he detected. Marat he wanted to buy it so much because he smelled it too. Marat you go inside, if you have good nose, you smell something. you smell. Even today, if you go to that place over there and you stand in Oil Yitzchak, when we can't go during the year over there, only a few times a year they open it. So there's a place over there that you feel wind comes up. And that place, if you have a good nose, you can smell something. That's the smell that Avraham Avinu smelled. That's the smell that Yitzchak smelled. That's what Yitzchak prayed over there. Mincha. That's the smell that Yitzchak Avinu smells when Yaakov comes inside. So Yitzchak remembered the smell. When Yaakov came inside, he said, "Oh, I smell something." I said, "What do you smell?" "I smell the field that I smelled." That smell that I smelled is the smell of the ground of Ma'at Machpelah, of the place that Hashem blessed it. That's the information that we have. Now Chaim tells like this, look. When Hashem made earth, and made Gan Eden, he told them, come inside Gan Eden. Because in Gan Eden, you can feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu by smell it. What does it mean exactly? The Mishnah tells us, the Gemara tells us, the person brings the sacrifice to Beit HaMikdash, he has to have one kavanah crucial, that is going to be for a good smell to Hashem. It means it's a barbecue. It is that smell of the sacrifice. Reach Nichuach Torah says, Hashem said, have this in mind. I love the smell of the sacrifices. And this is the reason what it's behind it. Because in Shir HaShirim, the mountain, Beit HaMikdash is called Haramor. More is one of the spices. Because the smell that you smell is really an energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, an energy. And Hashem blessed this place because it's there, that place should smell like this. The same smell is in Ma'at Machpelah. Because Ma'at Machpelah is one of the entrances to Gan Eden. So that smell comes out from Gan Eden into Ma'at Machpelah, it's Avraham smell, and that's what Yitzchak smelled, and that's what Yitzchak prayed Mincha over there. And that's the smell of Friday night. So that's what the Torah tells you, the difference. Look, Esav, at age 13, he decided he wants to be a hunter. Torah says, Sadeh, Sadeh, field. He says, oh, what field, what field? He said, there's a field, there is a field. There's a field with a smell, and a field without a smell. Esav, what do you want? He wants to be, he says, what do you do, what do you do? Esav says, you're ruining the real field, the real Sadeh, you're ruining it. Because how do you keep it? If you behave. Esav never behaved. You never behaved, you mean destroy the smell. We call it destroy the pure energy. And that energy means Hashem, it's, you push the smell away. Yaakov Avinu Yoshev Alim, Torah says, okay, I want to tell you something about Yaakov. And Yaakov Avinu sits there in Torah all the time. He says, what do you mean? Tell you what it means. You see soon. At age 15, Avraham Avinu died. Esau will come home, and Yaakov said, I will like to have soup. And Yaakov said, listen, I want to be firstborn. I said, why do you want to be firstborn? You know why? Why do you want to be firstborn? Because I want Hashem to smell the smell that I'm going to deliver to him. Not because he wants to be a Kohen Gadol. The place of Beit HaMikdash is a place of smell. It's called Haramor. That's the secret of the Ktoret. And that's really the secret of the smell. I said, what kind of smell is this? What kind of smell is this? This is the smell of Beit HaMikdash. And I want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have pleasure. It's called Reach Nichuach, pleasure from the smell. I don't want to be Kohen Gadol. I want to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu a pleasure from the smell. And I said, oh, so do. Okay, fine. Here comes the Torah. I said, I want to explain to you something. Look what's going to happen. It's going to be the night of Pesach. So the Mekubalim say, to figure out, that here, Pesach fell on Shabbat. Shabbat, as we said before, the Zohar says, the meal on Friday night is filled of good apples, smell apples. Yitzchak calls, it says in the Zohar. Yitzchak calls Esav, said, listen, tonight is a very big night. I want you to do something for me. He said, I want you to go to the field. Field? Yeah. I want you to tell you something. I want you now to be very careful how you're going to slaughter the animal that you're going to catch for me. I want you to make me special food that way I like all the time. What do you like? What do you like? He said, every time that Rivka or Esav made for Yitzchak, the smell of the food was, the taste of the food, the smell of the food was the smell of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even though Esav was far away, but since the mitzvah of Kibud Av, that he respected Yitzchak so much, that mitzvah injected in the food the good smell. And that's why Yitzchak loves a good taste. He says, I like the way you make it. And Rivka said to Yaakov, I'm going to make the same thing. The way you, something that your father likes very much. Very tasty, not tasty. The taste is the smell. And the smell is the smell of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the goal in life. And that, what Yitzchak tells Esav, listen, go tonight, tonight is Shabbat. Tonight is the first night of Pesach. You go, tonight I can give you a special bracha. That bracha is to elevate Esav. The bracha is going to come in a second. So what's the bracha? The bracha is Elokim. It means Hashem is going to elevate you. So also Yitzchak did not know how bad Esav was, but he did know he's not of the level of Yaakov Avinu that wants to produce smell. Come get it for me. In the meantime, Torah said, okay, Rivka heard it, she calls Yaakov. She said, you go do quickly, you do. I make this food. It gives me very good smell, very good taste. Being it, your father will benefit. Torah says, Yaakov comes inside. He talks very gently, so Yitzchak is very suspicious. He says, come over here, I want to put my hand on your hand. I want to feel. I said, oh, the hands feel like yourself, but you sound like okay. Come over to me, come kiss me, give me a kiss. Come give me a kiss. Torah says he smells the clothing. Rama says the clothing, but the clothing. So Zohar says the clothing is the clothing from Adam Rishon. That Esav had it, and it was inside the house. And Rivka dressed Yaakov, and when Yaakov wore it, came smell out of it. What smell is this? Chakal tapuchim kalishin is called. The smell of the field. The smell of Gan Eden, the smell of the spices. Come to me. Yitzchak smelled the body of Yaakov. You know, that's the goal in life. It's not to take a bath and not to put deodorant. If somebody learns Torah, a special smell comes from his body. Special smell. Abraham Kanevsky never put deodorant. Rav Shach never put. Shlomo never put. Rav Gershon. Because the Torah connects you to Hashem and produces special smell to you. Come to me, Yitzchak said, come. I smell your clothing. It's the smell of the field over there. I smell you. He says, that's the field. That's it. Tonight's Friday night. Now I'm going to give you a blessing. B'iten lecha, give you the blessing. Says Zohar, never fulfilled. Because the blessing was not just to Yaakov Avinu. Everything is for generations to come. If we don't put our effort all the time in Torah, Yeshev Ohalim, and we don't have in mind Bet HaMikdash, we want to serve Hashem and to bring sacrifices to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that should have a good smell to Hashem, never can get it. As the Zohar says, in Malabah you get it. Mashiach will come, you get it. In the meantime, nothing was accomplished. So that's what the Gemara says. The person should be very careful in Mincha. Because Yitzchak made Mincha. He says, when Yitzchak made Mincha? When he was on the field. It was on that field, when he smelled, he made Mincha. Says the Gemara, be careful in Mincha. Says the Zohar, be careful of the means of Shabbat, to obey Shabbat, and to enjoy Shabbat. And so the Rambam says the Gemara, you have to have very special food on Shabbat, very special. It should taste very good. And says, this is for what? For what? It is to remember that tasty food that Yaakov brought to Yitzchak was Friday night. What day was it? I said it was the day of the Geula, the night of Pesach. So the Gemara tells us you should know Pesach time Geula. Am Yisrael will keep one Shabbat according to Gemara Yerushalmi. Mashiach comes because it's a special smell. Says the Gemara. The citizens of Rome, Antoninus, converted. He used to live in Caesarea, another place. He was very friendly with Rabbi Aderet, the one who wrote the Mishnayot. And one time he came to him, it was Shabbat. He had a tunnel. The tunnel that went under the ground, nobody should see that he comes to him. And he gave him to eat something. He said, very good, tastes very good. Then he came to him a second time, but it wasn't Shabbat. He gave him the food. He said, it doesn't taste the same. And so he says, what is the difference? So he told him, there's a special thing that we put inside, a spice. What do you call that spice? It's called this spice called Shabbat. Shabbat. I never heard it. He says, you know, if you have the real taste, you can have food that was made on Shabbat, and you can have food made during the week, the same ingredients, the same spice, everything, it doesn't taste the same. He told him, you know, Shabbat is a spice. What do you mean exactly? What is that exactly? I mean, because Shabbat is a smell. And that's what Yitzchak Avinu said to Esav, I smell you, I smell the field, I smell the clothing, I smell. So what is it? It was Friday night. It says, Friday night is the smell. So the smell is in the ground. Starts from Gan Eden, goes to Mata Machpelah, go all the way to Yerushalayim. The Gemara says, the smell of Eretz Israel makes you smarter. Just you walk into Eretz Israel, just breathing, but because it's oxygen, not because it's a smell. You don't feel it, but if you're in a certain level, you come to Israel, you say, I smell something else. And anyway, it's the most important thing. The Mishnah tells us that on Tisha B'Av 5 things happen. That's why we do Ta'anit Tisha B'Av. So 2 Beit HaMikdash were destroyed on Tisha B'Av. Beitar, the city of Mashiach Bar Kochva, destroyed. And also, the Caesar plowed Yerushalayim. Necheshai. You read the Mishnah, says, what's the big deal? They plowed Yerushalayim. What's the big deal about it? What's the big deal? The 2 Beit HaMikdash were destroyed, I understand. It says they killed millions in Beta with the Bar Kochva, the Mashiach, I understand. But what is it about plowing Yerushalayim? What's plowing Yerushalayim? As it says in Navi, a prophecy. Tzion sadeh techaresh. Navi tells us, it's not the plowed Yerushalayim. They plowed the field. It means the smell came out. When you plow it, it came out. It's on the surface, the smell. It's like a field of orchard, of apples. And that's what the Mishnah says. The biggest tragedy, in a way, is the same idea. The purpose of Beit HaMikdash is the smell. The Nabi says, the Gemara says, the purpose of Mashiach is we should get back the smell in our nose. That's the most important thing, because Hashem injected the neshama through our nose. And that's why we smell through the nose. Comes the Gemara and says, when you smell something, it's a bracha. It's a bracha. Mind you say bracha when you see something nice. The Gemara says because the sentence, the last sentence in Tehillim, you say Tehillim, the most important part is the last sentence. Kol ha-neshamat hallelujah, hallelujah. And the neshama of a person praises Hashem. You say Tehillim, so you know what is it? Not your mouth. Your neshama praises Hashem. Says the Gemara, so what the neshama has from energy? Smell. Says Dari, neshama eats the smell of the food that you eat. Because the smell is really a Kadosh Baruch. It means you swallow Hashem, you eat Hashem, and that gives you life. And so Kol neshama, every neshama should bless Hashem. Kol neshama, hallelujah, hallelujah. And what is this? The smell. The smell. The Gemara is special bracha on the smell. Because it's the most important thing. Included in when you say bracha on the food, say any bracha, it's included also the taste, so you don't say another bracha. Really should have said every time that you eat something, two brachot. One of the food and one of the pleasure of the taste of the smell that the neshama gets from the food. But since you said the Chachamim say bracha on the food, it includes that one. But if you don't eat, you just smell, say bracha. What's a bracha? Because you smell something, so what if you smell something? It means nothing. Because you gave so-called a smell to your neshama. Your neshama is part of Hashem, and the smell is part of Hashem. And that's the whole purpose. Chachamim says as well of this parsha. It's not Yaakov and Esav and he got the bracha. It's a guide for us. It's as well. It says how to be saved from the time of Mashiach, from the time of Gog Magog, and to be in Olam Haba. It's Shabbat. This is the taste. That's the food. It says this is the smell. That saves you. And that first is Yitzchak, because Yitzchak was the first. That so-called in the Torah describes it. And it was, at the time, was Friday night. When Yaakov came inside with the food, was Friday night, was the first night of Pesach. Friday night. So it smelled like a tree, like an apple tree, like a field. And it says that's why Friday night, the first meal is Yitzchak Avinu. Should be Abraham. Abraham is the first, yeah. But Friday night is Yitzchak. Because on the first Friday night, that Torah tells us about the smell, was the time that Yitzchak called up Esav. He knew. He said, Yitzchak told him, you come tonight. Tonight I'm getting you a bracha. Chachamim says, Shabbat Mekor Bracha. Chachamim says, Shabbat is the center of brachot. It says, starts mainly, says the Zohar, Friday night. Friday night is crucial. That's why we have Kiddush Friday night. In the morning, the Kiddush is called Kiddush Rabbah. It means just properly Agef and Bili. But the real Kiddush is Friday night. And Friday night gives the energy of the Shabbat to a person. That's what Chachamim say, how much we have to keep the Shabbat, be happy on Shabbat. בזכות השבת נגאלים הרבה מן הרבה. אמן.